Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to learn to draw two portraits that are used in pop culture or in comic form, and one slightly looking upward, one slightly looking down. So, if you have your pencils set, we can draw that line. I'm going to do this one looking upward, but from a perspective that we ourselves are looking that way, on that face looking up. So it is what you call an iconic pose. And in this one, to best get this down, we will first draw. You could actually draw an X shape, and then make sure that you put that line down like that, closer to that outer line, and then one line here to give that face another anchor, another dimension. A little flat at the top, a little flat here at the bottom, arc, another arc like that, pretty close. Now this will also depend on what character you choose to go with. And then we have another portrait in which the character is looking down and we are looking this way, on that head or face looking down. So to do that, we will do the simple exercise again of just putting down an oval first, but essentially in both cases try to put the oval like in that way, like more pointed here in this case and more pointed toward this end in this case. And you could put it as large as you want, and of course later we can always fix things as we move along. So another line, just like here, another line running along this outer edge, two-dimension line there, and then another line right here, an arc right here, and another arc right about there. So now that we have put those lines down, we will begin with this one first. It's a fairly simple exercise. Again, it depends on what character you're trying to draw. I think this one that I am going to choose is just a generic, good-looking comic face. And as you see, I'm drawing along the lines, keeping the bridge. So the nostrils, the bridge of the nose, the nostrils going around like that, and then no need for dark lines outside, because you might try to give him hair, or you might try to put some other details in. So I'm necessarily making a regular iconic pose, and I'm using that wide chin that these characters are known for. So somewhat like a Superman or a Batman type of character. I've added that hairline in, and there about is the ear. It could be larger, it could be smaller. Again, that is not the idea of the practice today. We are just using this angle to have the face looking upward, and then that is the part under the chin, and then we round off right here, just like here, the top of the brow, part of the eye there, part of the eye showing right there. and right here is the mouth. Make sure that everything is curving upward from the center. Like this is going a bit upward, the mouth is going a bit upward, and then up to your discretion if you wish to give him lips or just keep it a straight line there as we see in pop culture form. And from this point on, you could actually take it anywhere you like. You could give him that set of hair, and again, in my estimate, the hairline would be somewhere around there, so we're just throwing in some details very quickly. Of course, if I were to make this into a commission or a final portrait, I would invest a little more time than this quick practice and make sure that I am putting in much more accuracy, much more details as we go along. And there will be that first eyebrow, the second eyebrow, somewhere around there. And then of course it's all up to you if you wish to give that fold beside. And you can enhance this image with light and dark. And let's say that the light is falling in on his face here, so around every little crease you will essentially have a shadow falling, particularly if you are showing him with detailed cheekbones. There will be a shadow going right about there under the brow, right behind the nose there, a bit under the nose there, somewhat just below the hairline right there, some of it falling here on the ear, and of course it'll be more intense under his big chin right there, and even under the round spots it will cast. Again, depending on the facial features, these shadows will be cast accordingly. Here I have just put in something, again, very roughly in a crosshatch sort of way, but you have to take care of seeing where the shadow falls, and that's how you would detail the face. And of course, if the light is falling here, we do know that we had this true dimension, so right around just outside it, you're going to first put in a line that goes along the face, somewhat like that, around the curves and the bends, and then you could roughly cast that side in somewhat of a shadow, and you see that the effect comes right away. So that is a quick way of doing that particular portrait. If I do the eyeballs, I'll just put them somewhere there. Just make sure that they're even, and that's one portrait. And then we go toward the other one. For this one I would actually put in a line on the top here as well, just as a guide. So my apologies. It could be this way, but it should be essentially this way, since everything is curving downward, he's looking down. So we will first just put a loose line right there, and then the brow, because we're looking at it from the top, use the center line for the middle of the brow. The brow is actually a good place to start, but that's, again, it varies from person to person of how you would like to go about this. So the mouth somewhere around there, and we round off with the chin. Come inward and make sure that you are following that oval, or at least like changing the oval as you go along if you feel that you need to put in more perspective into one angle. Now the ear, of course, make sure that it does not go past that point, so somewhere around there. And again, the shape of the ear, it will all vary depending on what character you wish to do or what portrait you're doing. And there we have it. Try to have every bulge, like, try to go toward the center here, and it will look better. And then the rest of the hair can show behind there a little bit. And then we have our eyes, and a bit of the eyelid on that other eye behind that nose. The nose can be a little bit inside or outside. Again, it all depends on what character you wish to go with or what portrait you are drawing. So a little bit of the cheekbone, the Adam's apple, and his shoulder could be here while he's looking down, or it could be here. But that again depends on what portrait you're doing, but that is the general idea of getting that downward portrait and nailing it at best you can. And there we have the eyebrow. If you would have the eyeball, it would most likely be going toward the lower part of the eyelid in this case, so I have done it like that, giving him some details right there around the nose, under the eyes. And this time around, since we are showing that the details are being taken care of in the sense that he's looking down where the light is, again we'll use the same source of light going that way. So do remember that there's that bulge around the face showing, and you can use that to your advantage to add some details. So just a thin casual line going there first, but you'll have to come and work some details here past every bulge, every curvature, even around the round of the nose here. Around here some shadow will be cast, most definitely, if the light source is coming from there. If he has this line down the nose, it'll be like that. And then under his chin, it will most certainly be darker here. And then, of course, going inward and putting in that little shadow. And I would recommend crosshatch all the way through and through for this, because it's very easy to play around with it and to erase things as you go along. So right outside that little bulge, it ends there, and then it continues past it around the chin. It ends there because the chin is like nice round there, and then it casts the shadow on the other side. So just some general rules of light and shadow, and if you do that, you'll see that it enhances your image right away. And then of course around the hairline you will have some shadow falling as well, just inside the ear, most definitely intense, but not filled through and through, please Google some images and see how the details can come out inside the ears. And there's somewhat of a shadow there around the cheekbone, and then of course under the jaw a little bit of shadow right there. And then the most intense, as you have already guessed, will be cast. Actually, if that is the shoulder, there will be a shadow pretty much right around there. And again, you do not need to follow this direction exactly, because your choice of character will determine. Make sure that you leave some even lines there, like showing, and make sure that the curvatures and the neck muscles are highlighted as correctly as possible. In comic form, they also go like here somewhere, mostly, and fill it out like that, right to the collarbone, sometimes even past the collarbone, depending on how bulky or thin the character is. And then of course you will have the hair, and the general rule is to have some light left around this area, and then have like some different patches of light. You have to imagine like the light is actually like falling down on that source, and that is actually a general rule even in making any kind of portrait, any kind of object. We have some videos actually covering that particular topic of how light and shadows are cast when against a light source and with different kinds of objects, flat, round. So here we are almost done, and then I can have you good folks going back to your work very quickly. But that is a quick rough practice of sorry, I did not mention that there will be some shadow here as well around the brow, behind the eye, under that little bulge. Leave a little bit illuminated here, and then darker behind the nose once again. So that is the general rule of how to play around with the fills and the details and light and dark once you have put the facial features down. It's a lot of fun to play with this, because the face is of course the expression of the human form itself, and very essential to every little portrait, every little detail that you're trying to show through. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this was of some help. Please do Google images and put in lots of practice. Have fun. Please do subscribe and keep in touch. Have yourself a wonderful day.